Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to another video on the channel. This is going to be... I've been taking a few days to try and process this because I was going to film a video about it on Friday just gone. Obviously, if anyone in the pop culture world knows, we sadly lost Akira Toriyama on 8th of March. He died at the age of 68. Following a acute subdural hematoma, which is like a type of bleeding on the brain. It's one of those, because with like sort of celebrity deaths or people in the entertainment industry, sometimes like it doesn't really affect you, but for someone like Akira Toriyama, like for me personally growing up, he had such a massive influence on my life as a kid. Yeah, I remember waking up Friday and like my friends posted like the screenshot in like WhatsApp group just saying like Dragon Ball creator passes. And I just sat there, just for a good like 5-10 minutes, and I just felt a bit like numb. It's hard to really describe. Obviously, you know, I've never met Akira Toriyama, but it's just the influence he had like on so many like kids or like adults, especially in that late 90s generation. It's not a stretch to say that he had such a massive impact on so many like childhoods, and yeah, it was it didn't start my day off well, to be honest. It was hard to sort of read the articles, and I didn't even know like the guy was sick, to be fair. So yeah, it was just I was in a very strange mood on Friday, just because like the impact as a young kid, it really like it was massive growing up. Because like, you know, Dragon Ball Z was my first, it was my first introduction to like the world of anime and manga, because like we didn't really have much of that in the UK like back in the late 90s, but I remember the first time I saw Dragon Ball Z, it just completely like just changed my life as a kid, because I'd never seen anything like it in my life. And it was just, you know, these characters that were bigger than life, the stories, like, you know, the themes in it. And it's not a stretch to say that it's impacted so many people globally. Like, if you ask any sort of anime or manga fan, probably 9 times out of 10, the first thing that people was introduced to into that world would have been Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z. And it was just like, it sounds really weird, it sounds really bizarre, but I don't know, the news of his passing, it kind of felt like I lost a family member. I mean, that probably sounds absolutely ridiculous, but yeah, like, not to go, this video is going to go deep, jeez, I was not prepared for this, but yeah, like, as a kid, like, I don't know, I had a very, very difficult childhood, and it was like, watching Dragon Ball Z, like adventures of like Goku and all his friends, I feel like it was kind of, it taught me things like as a young kid, like about life, the different themes and the stories, like how you should never give up, and you know, protect those that are close to you or people that can't necessarily protect themselves. And it was just, when you see, you know, characters like Goku, Gohan, Vegeta, Trunks, where they surpass their limits to go, no, I will do this. I don't know, as a kid it just kind of taught me that even if you think you know your limits, just keep going, just keep pressing on. Which, to this day, that theme is something that always stuck with me. Because like, there has been times like in our lives when we just think, you know, I can't do this, or I don't deserve this, I'm not good enough for this, but then, yeah, just going back to those early Dragon Ball Z episodes, I was like, nah, if I want to do something, I can do it. Yeah, it's just something that stood with me as I got older. But yeah, growing up with Dragon Ball Z, it was such a monumental, like, life-changing experience, and it's just that it opened up this whole new world, and it had such, especially like, I suppose my generation really, especially my generation, it had such a massive impact on us as young kids and our youth, going up to like adult life. It was such a stellar point in time, and that first introduction to it just, yeah, it was one of those, where were you when you first saw Dragon Ball Z? Yeah, I remember like I used to come home from school, because I think at the time it might have been I think, was it Cartoon Network? Because I think it started on Cartoon Network, and then I would just rush home to watch it. And then I think eventually it went on to Toonami, which is like sort of like a separate channel on Cartoon Network. But yeah, I would just rush home to watch Dragon Ball Z just to, because the thing I remember is the narrator of the show. Like, he always used to be like, next time on Dragon Ball Z, like that always just stuck with me. But yeah, I'd rush home to watch it, even if the episodes were repeats, because back then we didn't get the license of anime. It wasn't what it is now, so we used to get a lot of reruns. But for me, I was like, I don't care. I will happily watch this. Like, even if it's the same episode, I just love watching it. Yeah, I just remember being fixated to the TV. And like, I don't think my dad understood it, because he was like, why you watch a bunch of guys fighting? And I was just like, to me as a kid, it was just like, I suppose like the first simple introduction to like superheroes, really. Because obviously I watched a lot of like the Marvel stuff as a kid, but I think Dragon Ball Z, it was just took it to a whole new level. I mean, like, as anyone probably did in that generation, used to like, you know, pretend to play fight, like get pillows, throw it around like it was a Destructo disc, and obviously we all used to do the Kamehameha, all wishing we were Super Saiyans, but sadly it's not happened yet. Maybe one day. But yeah, it was just fond memories. And then obviously it branched off into like video games, like the Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi series. Just, that's always been a special game for me. Like, growing up with that, it was just seeing like what you were seeing on the comics and screen into like 3D fighting. It was, yeah, it revolutionised the whole fighting genre for me personally. Some may disagree, that's absolutely fine. But for me, it was just, yeah, everything about Dragon Ball Z, it was just, it opened all these new doors for so many different people, and it's one of those series that has such a special place for so many people. I think another reason why it was so impactful for me as a kid, it kind of felt like you were learning something. It was kind of like a teacher, essentially. Like, he was teaching all these different things about life and friendships and themes, but through these massive characters and stories. Just talk about these themes about, like, you know, caring for people, you know, looking out for those that necessarily can't stand for themselves, having the courage to protect those that you really care about, and that, you know, you go the extra mile just to help them. And one of the main things, like I said at the start of the video, was about, you know, surpassing your limits, to think you can't do something, but actually breaking through it and just keep going. I think, like, when I think of Dragon Ball Z, I think there's two, no, it's probably three moments that really just come to my brain. Like, the first time Goku went Super Saiyan, I just remember, like, it broke my brain, because I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. And, like, you know, it's when he's fighting Frieza, he literally transforms into a Super Saiyan, and it was just the coolest thing ever. Like, I'm just getting chills talking about it now. But I was just like, this is literally the coolest thing I've ever seen. And then obviously when Gohan goes Super Saiyan 2 in the Cell games, when he does the one-hand Kamehameha against Cell, like, that was another huge moment in the series. And then even when, like, Vegeta, he finally becomes a Super Saiyan, like, those three moments, I was like, this is, yeah, it was just one of the coolest things I'd ever seen as a kid. And whenever I think of Dragon Ball Z, those are always the three things that come to my mind, because they were just such, like, standout, vital moments in the stories. It was just, yeah, it was just amazing. I think the reason it was so impactful as a kid, especially going up into, like, branching into, like, teenage years and stuff, it showed that no matter what gets thrown at you, you should never give up, and you should always find a way just to try and either get to where you want to be, or just get what you want. Essentially, it was kind of like, if you want something, go chase it. Like, the world's not going to give you stuff, so you need to, like, make your own sort of history code, so to speak. And that's always something that really has stood with me as a kid, even into my adult life. Like, I know sometimes it's hard to have that positivity, but then I just think back to, like, sometimes when I was a kid and certain things, and that's one of the moments when I was like, yeah, if, you know, if younger me had that ambition and drive, then there's no reason why I shouldn't still have. Like, going back to Akira Toriyama himself, I think the reason he has such an impact on me, especially growing up, I never thought I'd ever get into, like, creative work. Like, I never once thought I want to be an illustrator or I want to be an animator. But when I first saw Dragon Ball Z, I was like, this makes me want to, I don't know what, but I want to do something to make something like this. And then obviously I went to uni and did like animation, which involved a lot of like, you know, character design and like short animation films. And I don't think if it wasn't for something like Dragonball Z and what Akira Toriyama has created, I don't think I would have ever bumped into that sort of path. Because it's the thing, when I was a kid I just couldn't draw, but I do remember distinctly like the first time I ever saw Dragon Ball Z, like I tried to like do fan art for it, and then as I got older into college I really discovered like the passion for drawing and art, and then I should do so much Dragon Ball Z fan art, like, you know, I draw it and then digitally colour it and stuff. So yeah, it impacted me in a way that I didn't think it would, because I thought, oh, this is really cool as a kid. But in no way, shape or form did I think it was going to impact me figuring out what I wanted to do with my life, so to speak. It's even like, I mean, it doesn't sound silly to me, but it might to people watching this video, but I think the reason I even wanted to do martial arts was because of Dragon Ball Z. Because like, when I was a kid, like, I did karate, and then as I got older, I did a bit of Wing Chun, tried Muay Thai, which was savage, never did that again. But yeah, it's always given me the passion for, like, because I do like martial arts. I don't do it anymore, but that was that was something else I sort of wanted to try through the love of Dragon Ball Z. It's just, it impacted me in so many ways as a kid, and I don't know, it's just like, even though he's gone, he's left such a amazing legacy that even though he's physically not here, he lives on through what he's created with, like, you know, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Quest as well, through like anime, manga, video games. Like, he truly was like a master of what he did. When I was thinking of what to talk about for this video, like, I was just looking up you know, some of the like tributes that have come out and stuff, and the statements. There were some statements that I think it was left by the studio, and they said that he would have many more things to achieve, however he has left many manga titles and works of art to this world. We hope that Akira Toriyama's unique world of creation continues to be loved by everyone for a long time to come. And then obviously he's just, I think I was reading something that there was a lot of stuff he was working on, because obviously, you know, there was a lot of Dragon Ball Z things he was working on. We've got the Sparking Zero video game coming out as well, which will be a very bittersweet release now, knowing that he's not here to see it. But it will kind of be like maybe a love letter to him and Dragon Ball Z. Two of the tribute, I wanted to read these out because these kind of like broke my brain a little bit. Was the Naruto creator Masashi Kishimoto. He left a tribute to him, and he said the following: "I've just received news of Sensei's passing. I'm overwhelmed with a sense of loss even greater than when Dragon Ball ended. I still don't know how to deal with this hole in my heart. I can't even read Dragon Ball, my beloved manga, now. I don't feel like I can write the message to Sensei properly. People around the world were still looking forward to Sensei's works. If there's one wish from Dragon Ball that could come true, I'm sorry, it may be selfish, but I'm sad, Sensei. Thank you, Akira Toriyama Sensei, for your many enjoyable works over 45 years, and thank you very much for your hard work." So that's from the Naruto creator. And then we've also got one for Eiichiro Oda, who is the creator of One Piece. His one was really lovely. So he said, "It's too soon. The void left behind is too large. The sadness overwhelms me when I realise I'll never meet you again. From my childhood, I've admired you. I remember the day I was first called by name. On the way home after the day you used the word friends for us. I remember the joyous moment with Kishimoto-san. I remember our last conversation. Taking the baton from an era when reading manga was considered foolish, you helped create an era where both adults and children enjoy manga. You showed us that manga can do this, that it can take us to other worlds. It felt like watching a hero charging forward, Not just for manga artists, but for all the creators who were children during the serialization of Dragon Ball. The excitement and inspiration remains rooted. Your presence is like a giant tree. For manga artists of our generation who stood on the same stage, Toriyama's works become an even greater presence the closer we got, almost scary. But meeting the laid-back you always made me happy. We love Toriyama Sensei to the core. With respect and gratitude for Akira Toriyama Sensei's rich creative world, I sincerely pray for his peaceful rest. May heaven be the delightful world you envision, Sensei." yeah, I just read those just because it's not a stretch to say that without Akira Toriyama we probably wouldn't have gotten like Naruto or One Piece, and the fact all three of them were their biggest fans supporting each other, it just goes to show that this is what annoys me with fan bases. If the creators root and support each other, we don't need to like have this division of fan bases where it's like you can't like this one or that. It's like just love it all sort of thing. But yeah, those are really lovely tributes. I think as well, Dragon Ball Z really, it pushed anime and manga into the mainstream media. I don't think it's a stretch to say without it, it wouldn't have become what it is today. Because obviously now, you know, anime and manga is such a huge industry in the entertainment world. But I think Dragon Ball Z was the staple for it. And it just, yeah, it inspires so many generations, creators. Like, without Dragon Ball Z, we probably wouldn't have got half the series we got today. But yeah, I just wanted to just like have a real, I suppose, like an editorial about him. Because yeah, he was such a massive influence, like on me growing up, and like so many people I've met and become friends through the love of Dragon Ball Z. Like, if it wasn't for Dragon Ball Z, then some of my best friends I probably never would have met. Because it was kind of like, it was the introduction to like, you know, make these new friendships. Yeah, so it was like important in so many ways. But yeah, it is sad that he's not here, but his legacy will live on. And obviously his stories are never going to go away, and all his characters. It's just, yeah, it's sad when someone inspires you that much and they do go. Obviously I never got to meet him, but it's just the impact he had. I know there are people that are much bigger Dragon Ball Z fans for me, but that's not to say that Dragon Ball Z is such a special thing for me. Always will be. Yeah, I was absolutely devastated when I got the news, because it was just like, even though you only know the person through their works, it was such a key point in time for me as a young kid. And obviously all the things like he's done with Dragon Ball Z and the themes and the characters and stories, they'll never ever leave me. But yeah, I just want to have just a little mention about him. And obviously I'm a massive Dragon Ball fan, so I've got my 3-in-1s. Feel like giving these a read at some point. But yeah, it's just want to have a little video and just voice my thoughts. I've talked about it way too bloody long. But yeah, just thank you, Reverend Akira Toriyama. As a young kid, you were a true inspiration to me, and for most of my adult life. Obviously you will be sorely missed, but obviously you will live on through your work. And yeah, hope you're resting in the pearly gates, and you're gone, but you'll never be forgotten. So yeah, that's it for this one, guys. Just yeah, nice little tribute to such a huge influence for me and so many thousands of people across the world. So until next time, I'll catch you guys in the next video. And to sign this off, I just want to say thank you, Toriyama Sensei. You truly are one of a kind. You will be missed. And just thank you for all the years as a young kid and just being that comfort. Until next time, guys, I will see you on the next video.